TJ Jones, we here. State of the Saints podcast, top notch, everything's top class. Know the play before they snap it. Going forward, never backward. Mr. TJ Jones getting it done.
On Who Dat Nation, it is yours truly, TJ Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And my goodness, do we have a lot to talk about here on the State of the Saints podcast. It's been a very, very long time since we have had conversations at the start of the tampering process of the National Football League. I mean, it has been a long time, but man, there's a lot to talk about. But first and foremost, want to say thank you for choosing the State of the Saints podcast for your listening and viewing pleasure on this Monday evening. Really do appreciate your time. I ask that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to help the State of the Saints podcast grow. And I want to give a special shout out to everybody that is forming into the chat right now as we speak. Special shout out to you. And for those that can't make it to the chat, appreciate you just listening right now. Thank you so much for your time. And of course, for those that are checking this out late, not live, shouts out to the After Show boys.
Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to the After Show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to the After Show boys. They be tweeting and be posting, they be tweeting and be posting, they be tweeting. Yeah, them After Show boys, they be tweeting and be posting, they be tweeting and be posting, they be tweeting. Yeah, them After Show boys.
Out to all the After Show boys, After Show girls out there. But let's go ahead and get into it. The New Orleans Saints making blockbuster deals. And I'm not talking about the old VCR place they used to sit on Allegiant Fields in Gentilly. I'm talking about free agency. The New Orleans Saints went out there and got it, man. Straight gumbo pot is what the New Orleans Saints are putting together. I mean, they got the gumbo pot, and they are making sure that they have everything they need. And it's going to make it very, very interesting to see what the New Orleans Saints are going to do during the NFL draft. The decisions that the New Orleans Saints made on Monday to sign some of these players, it has opened them up to endless possibilities. And we now go into the NFL draft wondering, what will the Saints organization do during the draft? Now, some people still want Jeremiah Love for some apparent reason. I just don't understand that. I am going to be on my soapbox for a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, because a lot of Saints fans out there, I'm starting to believe that you don't watch nothing but Saints football, because I don't want to believe that a Saints fan on this day still feel that the goal is for the Saints to draft Jeremiah Love. Hell, we don't even know if that was the goal in the first place. It was almost like Saints fans just got themselves all excited for the possibility of Jeremiah Love coming to the Saints. And if he were to end up coming to the Saints, then you would have lost your freaking mind in the first place. But this is a team that understands that Jeremiah Love may not even be a possibility. As a matter of fact, I don't think that it will be. There are a lot of reports that are indicating that he may end up number 4 to the Tennessee Titans. And the way that the Tennessee Titans have been signing defensive players, you got to believe that maybe they're going to go offense in round number 1 when they draft for. They might go after Jeremiah Love. So what would that leave the Saints? But I just want to say, for those out there that just making it seem like Travis Etienne is just hot garbage, like he just fell off a turnip truck and the Saints overpaid for this guy, I want you to understand this. Travis Etienne is going into his 5th season in the National Football League. Travis Etienne, in 3 of his first 4 years, he has went over 1,000 yards rushing. The only year where he didn't go over 1,000 yards was, I want to say, his second season when he was coming off injury. Ironically, it happened when he played against the Saints in preseason he ended up being out for the season due to that injury. His second season, he was trying to find his way back, but after that, he pretty much went over 1,000 yards every single year. This is a guy that can run the ball in between the tackles, catch the ball out of the backfield, and doesn't have to leave the field. The New Orleans Saints are fortunate to have a guy like Travis Etienne to fall into their laps and want to come to the organization. He's from Louisiana, as everybody knows. He went to Clemson, where he was a star there. He was a second-round pick after the Jacksonville Jaguars. They went after Trevor Lawrence, his former teammate, first overall back in 2021. So this is a guy who has been in the league, been extremely active, and he has some of his best numbers statistically last season, where he had 6 receiving touchdowns on top of, I want to believe, 10 or 11 touchdowns rushing. This is a guy that is an absolute beast. And the New Orleans Saints need some young blood inside of the locker room. Plain and simple. If you don't know about Travis Etienne, please do your research and take a look at what he did in Jacksonville. The worst thing that a person can do, and I'm seeing a lot of this, and get in where you fit in. I'm seeing a lot of Saints fans out here that are telling on themselves by saying that Travis Etienne isn't good enough to be the Saints feature back. I just want to know, are you in Vegas right now? Did you roll past Planet 13? Are you high? Because this dude is an absolute beast. And like I said, the Saints are fortunate to have a guy like this come to the team. Speaking of which, let's talk a little bit about guard David Edwards. David Edwards signs a 4-year deal with the Saints, $61 million. 61 well-deserved dollars. If you looked at Pro Football Focus, this guy ranked in the 90s in pass blocking. I'm going to say that again. He ranked in the 90s in pass blocking. This guy was the ultimate protector for Josh Allen last season. And now he comes to the New Orleans Saints. I believe he's 28 years old. The New Orleans Saints have finally found some stability at the left guard position to go next to Calvin Banks, who is going into his second season, and he was one of the best left tackles, not just rookie left tackles, but one of the best left tackles in football last season. Let me make this perfectly clear. Travis Etienne, David Edwards are not coming to the New Orleans Saints. And there's another guy that's coming to the Saints, who has come to the Saints, we're going to talk about in a minute. They're not coming here. They're not coming to New Orleans if it was not for Tyler Shough. And it goes back to what I've been saying for the last few months. Tyler Shough is making the New Orleans Saints an attractive destination. He is making free agents want to come to the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints had a very difficult time selling prosperity to a free agent, because if you go to New Orleans, you might be under the impression that there is no possibility that they are going to find success. I'm talking to free agents. But when you have a player like Tyler Shough that gives people hope, who gives the team the best chance to win, and everybody is talking about his upside and looking forward to year 2 for Tyler Shough, players are going to want to come here. They are going to want to come to New Orleans, play for the Saints, and all they feel like they got to do is do their job, and the rest is history. This hasn't been this way in New Orleans on airline since Drew Brees left. Tyler Shough is a selling point. The most important position on the field is the quarterback position. If you don't have a quarterback, 9 times out of 10, you're not going anywhere. The New Orleans Saints are doing what they have to do in order to make Tyler Shough comfortable going into his second year. The worst thing you can possibly do is look at Tyler Shough's performance over the first 9 games that he started and say, hey, man, we got ourselves a quarterback, and have him go out there with a bunch of run-of-the-mill players and don't put anything around him in order for him to succeed. The New Orleans Saints didn't do that. And it was a really good decision, and I don't think they're done yet. And like I said, the New Orleans Saints opened up endless possibilities for themselves. But they went out also, and they went after Noah Fant. Noah Fant is a tight end who was really, really good in college coming out of the University of Iowa, played for the Denver Broncos, was really good, played for the Seattle Seahawks, was okay. You know, they mostly asked him to block. He was actually on the Saints' radar last season when he was released by the Seahawks. But, of course, at the time, the Saints didn't look that appealing. So he went to the Cincinnati Bengals, who had Joe Burrow. And now in the offseason, he's an unrestricted free agent. They circle back around again. They feel like he's a good fit for the team. And now you got yourself the Tyler Shough effect, and now he signs a 2-year deal. It's not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler Shough is moving the needle for the New Orleans Saints. Now, I don't know if this is going to equate to success, but this damn sure puts you in a better position than you were in last season. And it gives Saints fans hope that this team can actually get over the hump. It's a good feeling. And it's also good to see that the Saints aren't at the mercy of the salary cap, where they can actually go out here and get guys that are high profile, that fit the needs of the team. That's another thing that Saints fans should like about what the New Orleans Saints are doing. The New Orleans Saints aren't just out here just spending money all willy-nilly on players just for the simple fact of namesake. They're actually going after players for positions of need. So when you go into the NFL draft, you can actually select guys that are the best available. And like I said, that opens up endless possibilities for the New Orleans Saints. If they pick at number 8, and let's just say, for example, Orville Reese is gone, Sonny Styles is gone, Jeremiah Love is gone. Well, the New Orleans Saints could possibly get the best player available, whoever that may be, or they can trade back. Yes, I just said this. They can trade back and maybe gain more draft capital. I know Saints fans are talking about a wide receiver, but I'm telling y'all right now, there are only a handful of these wide receivers that everybody are clamoring for that made a really great impression at the NFL Combine. The entire time, while I was actually watching them on the field doing these drills, the talk among the entire media was the footwork and the route running was extremely suspect. And a lot of reporters feel that this draft is consistent of a lot of top-tier number 2 receivers. So if anybody's looking for, at the number 8 pick, for the New Orleans Saints to go after a wide receiver, if they don't lose any sleep over it, because there are some really talented guys in the second round that will fill that need. I know that everybody wants the new shiny toy, but at the end of the day, there's no need to reach for it. If you can actually move back, let's just say some of the top guys that you expected to be there at 8 aren't, you can actually move back. There's a possibility you can get Mansour Delane. There's a possibility that you can get Vega out of Penn State, the guard. You can do so many different things. And before any Saints fan gets upset, oh, man, we drafted the offensive line last year. We drafted the offensive line the year before that. Well, guess what? The Saints still need offensive line help. They still need offensive line help. Man, if your car breaks down, are you going to say, man, I'm tired of this car breaking down, I'm going to walk everywhere? No, you're going to go out here and get yourself another car because you need to get around. The Saints may not have hit it out of the park when it comes to the offensive line, but you got to fix this offensive line. The worst thing that you can do is, oh, the Saints don't need offensive line. Why don't the Saints need offensive line? Man, because I'm tired of the Saints drafted offensive linemen. Well, too freaking bad. Don't you want to see Tyler Shough live up to his full potential? Don't you want to see the running game live up to their true potential? I don't care how many times you draft an offensive lineman. You want the team to get it right, of course. The Saints organization want to get it right, but at the end of the day, you got to make sure you get it right. And you may not want to hear that, but it's the truth. You have got to get it right. And if the Saints get it right across the line, because it seems like they got their anchors on the end, left and right, and, now you got David Edwards on the team, Eric McCoy, if he can stay healthy, Cesar Ruiz right now is looking like the weak link of the team. And we seen Mickey Loomis call him out at the end of the year press conference by name. Basically saying, I'm paraphrasing here, he needs to be better. He needs to play better. So that is on the mind of the organization. So why would you just sit up here knowing that there are weak links on your offensive line, despite the fact of signing David Edwards, despite the fact that Eric McCoy, hopefully he'll be healthy? Why would you want to go out there and have a weak link on the line who has shown you that statistically he has not been doing his job up to par? And you just don't want to draft the offensive lineman, so it is what it is? No, man. No. The name of the game is to protect Tyler Shough, to make sure that his offense is a well-oiled machine in 2026. And if that means going after Vega or going after another like top-notch, even if it's the second round pick, maybe you're lucky enough to get Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. I mean, you got to be able to address this position. But also, like I said, who knows? Caleb Downs might be there at 8. Mansour Delane, you might end up being interested in him now that Alontae Taylor is gone. Might want to slide Quincy Riley to the slot. Maybe put Mansour on one side and Kool-Aid on the other. The Saints can do so many different things, and it's good not to be at the mercy of the salary cap. This is what happens when you're not at the mercy of the salary cap. The New Orleans Saints can go out here and wheel and deal. And it also pays dividends to have a quarterback that the NFL believes in, that players see and feel like all I have to do is do my job, and I know that this guy is going to do his job. That's a plus. We'll get into the players that the Saints have lost so far in just a minute, but let me go ahead and read some of your comments. Thank you all so much for being here tonight, here on the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Once again, my name is TJ Jones. I'm the host here of the State of the Saints podcast, but let's go ahead and get into it. Too bad y'all never had a wide receiver like that. What wide receiver we talking about here? Let's see. I get people wanting the shiny pick, but if they go offensive lineman to replace Ruiz, that dude is good. I love it. People just don't want to pick certain things because it's not sexy. Offensive linemen aren't sexy, right? It's not a pick that everybody just lose their mind over. Nobody was going crazy when the Saints drafted Calvin Banks last year. But guess what? There's not a Saints fan that is rooting for this team that would go back and say the Saints made a mistake when they drafted Calvin Banks. Not a soul. But if it was their choice, they probably would have got some other key skill position. And look, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But you need a left tackle. The Saints needed a left tackle. They drafted one, and they have a really good one. And this guy, as long as he stays healthy, is going to be a really good left tackle. I'm talking about all pro, flirting with all pro type. He is that good. I don't care at the end of the day. Like, forget your feelings. Forget about, what the Saints are doing all the time. You do it until you get it right. That's just what it is. You do it until you get it right. You may not want to keep doing it. No, that is not the ideal move, to keep drafting until you get it right. But what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? You gotta get it right eventually, or you're gonna keep on dealing with the same hardships year after year. That's just a fact. I'd rather them go into the draft, maybe go after Vega, draft him, and now you got yourself a good right guard, somebody that's going to be a cornerstone guy. And if you haven't watched Vega play at Penn State, you're doing yourself a disservice, because the dude is an absolute beast. And if the Saints were to do it, I'm not saying the Saints are going to do it, but I'm just saying, like, if they were to move back because they feel like, okay, we got positions of need, and there's really no player out there that is worth us being here at 8 if Jeremiah Love is gone, Sonny Styles is gone, Orville Reese is gone, right? Let's just say somebody scoop up Caleb Downs. I mean, what direction you want to go in? Right? I mean, so if another team, let's just say, for example, a team that's in need of a safety or something like that, and Caleb Down is there at 8. But let's just say, like, you got bigger fish to fry. Why not trade back? Get yourself maybe a second-round pick. Now you got 2 second-round picks. Well, you could probably get yourself, like, two really good second-round picks. A wide receiver maybe, and a guard. Or if you was to get like Mansour Delane, you can get yourself a guard in the second round and a wide receiver. Like I said, today on Monday, it opened up endless possibilities for the Saints. I think they're going to Styles, Reese, Bain, Bailey, or Downs. I'm cool with any of them. Yeah, I mean, look, that's not the Saints' forte trading back. All right, I'm just saying, for the sake of argument, if they were to do that, is it that big of a deal? In my opinion, it is not. But regardless, to who's there at 8, like, there are going to be some really good players. Like, we already know that the number 1 overall pick is going to be Fernando Mendoza. Everybody else, is probably going to consist in some, or not in this particular order, but Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Love, Sonny Styles, Ruben Bain. Like, it's going to be in that particular order, not in that particular order, but it's going to be those cast of characters. Spencer Fano, like offensive lineman, like it's going to be those guys. So who's to say at 8, okay, if you like a guy, but you're not in love with a guy, and a team calls you up and may be in love with the guy, why not make the trade? Is what I'm saying. But you're going to end up getting a really good player at the end of the day. This is what I want Saints fans to understand. What about the big receiver the Saints picked up from the CFL? Yeah, I mean, look, he was the number 1 overall pick in the CFL draft, right? I mean, he's a big 6'5" guy, big catch radius. But even with that, I got an issue with Saints fans feeling like the Saints wide receiver room is chopped liver. You got Chris Olave, you got Devon Vele, you got Jalen Pope, you got Trey Palmer, right? I mean, that's your 4 right there. I don't know if you watched Trey Palmer when he was healthy, when he was a rookie coming out of Nebraska, but the dude was pretty doggone good. As a matter of fact, if you go back and watch that playoff game where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went to the playoffs, they played against Philadelphia. It was a home game in Tampa. Trey Palmer led the team in receiving that day. He was lighting up the Philadelphia Eagles secondary. And not to mention, look, you may not want to hear this as a Saints fan, but he was putting 2 foot, 3 foot, and a lot of those star cornerbacks for the New Orleans Saints when he was with Tampa. This dude is not a scrub. This man has never been a scrub. The Saints are fortunate to have these guys, and they're young. Jalen Pope is 23 years old. Trey Palmer is 24 years old. I mean, what, Chris Olave like 25? Like, this is a young wide receiver room. And the biggest issue that Saints fans have is they never seen them. It's just that simple. They haven't seen them. Out of sight, out of mind. That's just what it is. Out of sight, out of mind. They're not good because I don't see them. That's not good enough. Go back and watch the film. Jalen Pope is a possession type guy. He's a 50-50 ball type guy. This is the type of guy that Saints fans want. Then you got Trey Palmer, who is a above average route runner, has speed, can take the top off the defense, as well as run some of those shallow routes. You know what I'm saying? Like these shallow crosses and not afraid to go over the middle and take a big hit. Then you got Devon Vele, who is a big target, which Saints fans have seen, right? Completely changed their minds because everybody for weeks was talking about how the Saints just squandered a trade with the Denver Broncos. Then this guy comes out here. I haven't heard it since. You got to give people opportunity, man. Like, what's the difference? What is the difference between Jalen Pope, Trey Palmer, and an unknown rookie that's going to have to come in the league and understand the speed of the league. You still don't know what they're capable of, but it's just the fact that they're new and they're shiny and they come from a school that you recognize. There's no difference. That rookie still has to be thrust into the lineup and still have to understand the speed of the game, grasp the playbook, and go out there and be what every Saints fan expect him to be, versus two guys that, although they were on IR the entire season, they still were in the wide receiver room. They're still going into their second season under Kellen Moore. They understand his playbook, and when they actually hit the field, they can actually start fast. They were working with Tyler Shough. They were developing chemistry with Tyler Shough. So in their second season with the New Orleans Saints, they can actually go out there and they'll probably be up to speed faster than that rookie is. I just want people to understand what they're actually saying. How can you say a person isn't good if you haven't seen them play? How can you say a person is the answer if you've never seen them in a Saints uniform? It's the same thing. Oh, I trust this guy more because he's healthy, but he still has to learn the playbook. And you still don't know what he can do and what he is capable of on a professional level because he hasn't been there. This is the Buzz Lightyear effect that I've been telling people for I don't know how long. Everybody wants the Buzz Lightyear, right? Woody was Andy's favorite toy. I say it all the time. He loved Woody, right? Then Buzz Lightyear shows up at a birthday party, and now he's the new toy with the shiny bells and whistles. Now all of a sudden, like, that's what I want. I don't want Woody anymore. I'm telling you right now, you don't know what these guys are capable of. And I'm telling you, if you're looking past Jalen Pope and Trey Palmer, you're making a mistake. Those dudes can play. They can play. The Saints are fortunate to have Trey Palmer on their football team. Jalen Pope was a first-round draft pick. The Patriots just sucked when he was there. And Trey Palmer, like, he just kind of got lost in the locker room. I mean, he just got lost in the wide receiver room. You got Chris Godwin up in there. You got McMillan up in there. You got Emeka Egbuka up in there. You got Mike Evans up in there. You got Cade Otton up in there. You got what's the dude name? Ted Johnson up in there. You got all that talent around you. It's not like, oh, they got rid of the guy because he was trash. It was the fact that they had an embarrassment of riches in a wide receiver room. So he just kind of got lost in there. It's just one of those situations where it's like, man, we don't want to just hold this dude back. He got talent. We might well go and try to get something for him. That's what this was. So it wasn't like, oh, Trey Palmer was just so garbage. Oh, they just threw him away. No. You seen Ted Johnson. Ted Johnson was making plays. McMillan was making plays until he had that neck injury. Chris Godwin always had made plays for Tampa. Emeka Egbuka for about 5 weeks looked like he was the offensive rookie of the year. So where would Trey Palmer fit? The Saints are fortunate to actually have that guy. And it's the same situation with Devon Bailey in Denver. Bailey made plays in Denver. But when you have Cortland Sutton and you got Mims and then you got, all these other guys that are coming in, making plays, Troy Franklin, all these dudes making plays, he got lost in the locker room. He got lost in the wide receiver room. So it's not like these dudes are terrible. I just know that it's just the way things are. If you're a fan of a football team, you just focus on said football team. You kind of pseudo listen and pseudo watch other games, but you're not enthralled in it. And I'm just saying, a lot of these takes and these opinions and these views are based on things that they haven't seen. And you're doing yourself a disservice. Because if you think that Trey Palmer won't make plays in a Saints uniform or Jalen Pope won't make plays in a Saints uniform, along with Devon Bailey and Chris Olave, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you. TJ, is Trey Palmer healthy? He is healthy. He is healthy. He's healthy, and he'll be available this season. Mickey did his thing with Polk and Palmer. You gotta give Mickey Loomis credit. You gotta give him credit for the decisions that were made in 2025 from the draft, getting those 9 draft picks and paid dividends for the team. Making some of these deals, trading away Rashid Shaheed. Congratulations to him. He got paid today. Congratulations to him. He well deserved. Got rid of Rashid Shaheed. And even though the same special teams kind of suffered because of it, Chris Olave came alive because of it. Because Chris Olave, one of his dynamic features is the fact that he can actually be a down-the-field threat on top of being a really good route runner. And now that Rashid Shaheed was gone, Rashid Shaheed no longer is that down-the-field threat. Chris Olave is the next in line. So it allowed Chris Olave to be able to get those 100-yard games because now he ain't just running, running routes in the flat, right? He's actually stretching the field. So it actually helped him. So not only did the Saints get some draft compensation because of it, that they were actually able to get better. Saints fans found out that Devon Bailey actually can play because of it. So you got to give Mickey Loomis credit in that regard. But here's the thing. For all of the fans out there that are talking about Saints fans owe Mickey Loomis an apology, let me tell you something tonight. Does Mickey Loomis deserve credit for 2025 and what transpired and how the team looked and what they brought in? Absolutely. But make no mistake about it. The reason why the New Orleans Saints were in the position that they were in was because of Mickey Loomis. I'm going to say that again. The reason why the New Orleans Saints were in the predicament, the situation that they were in was because of Mickey Loomis. Saints fans don't owe Mickey Loomis nothing. Nathan, not nothing, Nathan. And do you know why? This is equivalent. To if you're down in a basement, right? Somebody holds you captive and you're in a basement and they don't feed you for days and days and days. And then all of a sudden they come down there with a bowl of Frosted Flakes and give it to you. And you eat and finally you feel nourished. Does that moment defeat the fact that you have been down in a basement for 5 days, 7 days without food? Do you owe that person an apology? No, you do not. The Saints were in the basement for the last 4 to 5 years because of bad cap management, bad business decisions, bad managerial decisions. That is a fact. Now, this is one of those situations where this is a marriage, right? And let's just say the marriage was on the rocks. So we decided that we wanted to go to a marriage counselor. And we sat on the couch and the marriage counselor asked, do you want to give it another try? And she said yes. Do you want to give it a try? And he said yes, right? And you go home and you might want to give it a try, right? But you ain't about to just go up in here and just be the same way it was when you first got married, when you read those nuptials, right? It's going to be baby steps. Maybe you were sleeping in a guest room and maybe you can sleep in a room together now. Like it's one of those things. We're not going to just put all your hopes and dreams back into it, right? It's baby steps. Mickey Loomis, we are knocking on the door. Like, okay, man, this is our room together. You know what I'm saying? This is where we at. But it's going to take more than that in order for Saints fans to put all of their faith back in a guy at one time Saints fans believed in. I mean, they lived, breathed, and died by Mickey Loomis because of the decisions that he was making. Because even though they were kicking a can down the road, it wasn't really causing the team. The Saints were still winning 10, 12, 13 games. So they still was winning the division, going into the playoffs, getting your heart ripped out in the playoffs, but they still were going. But now it's like, man, over the last few years, Saints ain't sniffed the playoffs. So what are we talking about here? Apology? No, what Mickey Loomis is doing right now is an apology to the Saints fans, to the city of New Orleans, to the entire Gulf Coast, making these decisions, trying to get this team back on an island of relevancy once again. That is the apology that the front office on airline is giving to the Saints fans. I think people got it misconstrued here. I think people got it all mixed up here. You know, like I wasn't the one that was leaving out and coming back at 4 a.m. here. I've been at the house. I've been holding it down. You're the one that's been out here. You know what I'm saying? This is what I want people to understand here. But look, they deserve credit for the decisions that were made in 2025. Looked like Kellen Moore was the right decision. Looked like Tyler Shough was the right decision. Looked like these draft picks from 2025 were the right decision. And going after one of the top running backs in the entire free agent market, going after one of the top guards in the free agent market, going after a really good punter. Yes, they went after a punter. Laugh all you want to if you're not a Saints fan and don't understand Saints football. Special teams matters, okay? Anybody that's up here talking about, man, the Saints got a punter and start laughing, well, go back and look at Kyle Kroger's greatest hits and tell me if that wasn't a good decision or not. No disrespect to Kyle Kroger, but it is what it is, bro. It was not good. One of the worst averages among punters in the National Football League. This isn't TJ Jones talking about you. This is analytics talking about you, telling you what you have put on the field. And then you got Noah Fant, a guy who circled back around and said, hey, man, I actually like this. I thought about it. You know, I didn't think that this house was for me, but, you know, I thought about it. I like the price. I like the where we at right now. I think I can live here. All signs are leading to the New Orleans Saints getting back to some relevant football, where we're not just talking about, oh, the Saints went out there and gave it the old college try. I'm proud of the Saints. I'm proud of what they're building right now. They're actually building this in real time, and Saints fans have a product. Hopefully, they can be proud of saying, man, I'm glad I watched this game. I didn't waste my Sunday watching the New Orleans Saints embarrass themselves every single week. Get back to the comments here. Says, yeah, I think Demario wanted the last payday. I still love him, though. Look, man, there's nothing anybody can say to me about Demario Davis. There's nothing that anybody can say to me about Demario Davis. Demario Davis is one of the classiest human beings, not just football players, but human beings that anybody who ever met him, has ever come into contact with him, everybody can see that. Like, it is not a facade. This man is a leader. This man is a God-fearing man who loves his family. And he's going to do exactly what anybody who loves their family is going to do. Every single day, I know I'm talking to somebody. You go out here 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, go to a job that you don't really like, but you do it in order for you to be able to get a paycheck, in order to take care of your family. Might not be the best situation. Some people have good jobs where they can just go there and love their job, right? But at the same time, it is a sacrifice. Wiping that coal out your eyes, washing your face, brushing your teeth, and going out that house, but you're thinking about the people that's inside it. That is what Demario Davis is doing. And ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. This guy is 37 years old. He has way more football behind him than ahead of him. So why not go there and go back to a team where he knows the organization knows him, he knows the head coach, he can still be that leader that they need him to be, and he can help, the Jets as they try to navigate through whatever the heck they trying to do, whether it's, turning the page next season, tanking for Arch, whatever the heck they got going on, all the while receiving a handsome paycheck because of it. But it also just tells you what matters most to Demario Davis. Demario Davis, by signing with the Jets, with all due respect, he basically is telling you it's not about the championships. It's not about that. He loves football, and he wants to do what is best for his family, and he wants to set himself up so when he retires, his family can be okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. I salute Demario Davis, definitely on the Mount Rushmore of linebackers that have ever played for the New Orleans Saints, will be in a ring of honor, and a classy individual, a God-fearing man. How can anybody be upset with Demario Davis? How? If you say, man, I'm mad at him, bro, there's not a person here today that loves their family that wouldn't do the same freaking thing. If I told you right now, there's a job where you can make $100,000. We'll pay for you to move. We'll pay for you to go out and do whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? Like whatever you need in order to get to the job. We'll pay you six figures. It even got to be $100,000. Some of y'all making that. And they're like, that chump change. Whatever it is, right? Top dollar. Move your family. Do this job. How many of y'all going to sit up here and say, nah, I'm not going to do that, man. I'm chilling. If that means that can set your family up, if you have kids that want to go to college one day, if you want to be able to set your kids up to be able to have a life and able to not to be dealing with some of the things you probably dealt with going through the process, who's not going to do that? So put yourself in that position and tell me, did the guy make the right decision? First off, it's not for us to, say that he did or not. But at the end of the day, if you're going to make a decision and you're going to get top dollar, the most that you could possibly get, we already know what it's all about, knowing the human being. Knowing the human being. So nothing but respect for Demario Davis. Anybody that's out here talking about Demario Davis, man, please, you would have done the same freaking thing. But speaking of Demario Davis, let's talk a little bit about his new deal. Let's talk about his new deal. I got the details here. So he signs a 2-year, $22 million contract with the New York Jets. He gets an average per year of $11 million, and I believe 15 of those dollars are guaranteed. So congratulations to Demario Davis at 37 years old, getting another contract. I'll get into Alontae Taylor in just a second, but let me go ahead and read some more of your comments here. Says Demario getting paid, bro. Yeah, I think Demario wanted to. I already read that. Says that man sleeping in the doghouse. Who's sleeping in the doghouse? I said, not me. Nah, I'm just using that as an example. I mean, but y'all get what I'm saying, though, right? That's kind of what the relationship between Saint fans and Mickey Loomis was. I know not to get on my wife nerves. I won't be in the doghouse. Let's see. Noah Fant signed because Tyler Shough, and I love it. Yeah, it's the Tyler Shough effect. David Edwards, in my opinion, signed with the Saints because of the Tyler Shough effect. Bless Demario Davis, Jonathan Veltman, and Darren Sharper were some top free agents for the Saints through the years. Yeah, Demario Davis, Jonathan Veltman actually came to the Saints via trade. And Darren Sharper, he was a good pickup on the field. Okay, on the field. Okay, off the field, different story. On the field, he definitely was what the Saints needed, and he was a main reason why the Saints were able to make it to the Super Bowl in 2009. I agree, TJ, about Double D. Double D got to feed them kids. I mean, he got 5 children, man. You remember on Total Recall? I got 5 kids to feed. Demario gave his heart and soul to Nola, so let him go make his money. I respect. And he's still gonna be around. I guarantee you, Demario Davis still gonna be in the city. He's still gonna be doing different things in the city of New Orleans. I mean, he's from Brandon, Mississippi. I mean, it's not that far from New Orleans. What, about 2.5 hours maybe from New Orleans? I know it well. I used to go to Brandon all the time when I was at Jackson State University. Know that area really well. Says you can only play the game so long, so congratulations to Double D. I don't fall in love with players. It's a business at the end of the day. Look, I'm not saying not fall in love with a player, but understand that it is a business. 2 things can be true here. If a person has love for a player and don't want to see a player go, that's understandable. but also understand that it is a business at the end of the day. In order for teams to get better, to get younger, it's going to involve mainstays having to leave. It's tough. And I'm pretty sure, like, Saints fans are looking at it from, a much smaller lens than the people that's actually within the organization that interact with these guys every single day, who probably see them, I'm leaving. Where you going? I got to go pick my kids up. They see all these things. Saints fans see the product on Sunday, an interview that Nick Underhill put out, Ross Jackson inside the Saints locker room or whatever. So you're looking at it from a smaller lens. Like you get to know those players, rather or you find out that they're funny and witty and entertaining like Cam Jordan. They're a leader of men like Demario Davis, right? They're laid back, a free spirit like Alvin Kamara. You see it on a smaller lens, but they see these guys every day. So imagine how that makes them feel, where they know what what's going to happen if they cut these guys, right? Your kid going to Isadora Newman or something, right? And all of a sudden, that their kids are going to high school. You got a house in a garden district or whatever, and you got to call this person into your office and say, we're going to let you go. It don't get no tougher than that. So I understand from a certain perspective of a fan to have love for a player when they have given their all, blood, sweat, and tears on the field, and as real as they possibly can be in the name of the Who Dat Nation, right? Represent the black and gold. I get it. But at the same time, never forget this. That is a business. It's a business. It is a business. And in any business, if you're an entrepreneur, if you own a business of any kind, there's going to come a time where you're going to have to make some tough decisions. If you are a manager at a retail store, and I know this from experience because I was one before I just became full-time in broadcasting, when they tell you we cutting back hours, you got to make a decision about who hours you're going to cut. You know everybody's story, right? You know Miss Ann, who probably been working there 10, 15 years, right? Need this job. Living paycheck to paycheck. Tough decision, right? Knowing that you probably got a young kid up in there that's probably, if they don't have this job, they won't be able to get the things that they need because their mama probably doing or their daddy doing whatever they can to try to make it, and it's tough. Business, right? Never, ever, ever forget that, folks. Never, ever forget that. You can have love for a player, but always remember it's a business. Always remember that. And in business, tough decisions are being made. TJ, Mickey cooking is all season right now, but I won't forget he's been burning food like he worked at the Riverwalk for years. Yeah, man, look, you can cook a real good meal, man, right? I mean, Luke Longley had 25 points one night, but can he do it again, right? For those that don't know who Luke Longley is, he was the center for the Chicago Bulls during a magical run in the 90s. But he ain't really scored too many points. I want to say he maybe averaged about 6-7 points a game, all right? But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, he has to do more in order for him to get back into the good graces of the Who Dat Nation. But the New Orleans Saints organization are doing some good things. They're doing some good things right now. And the fact that we're actually having a conversation on the first day of tampering, right? Like this isn't like this Wednesday is the start of the league year. Like these guys are going to sign with these teams, but they haven't signed yet. A lot of them, right? Because it's not the start of the league year yet, but they're going to, which leads me to my next point. Man, miss me with this whole tampering thing. You're telling me that teams, they can talk to players after 11 o'clock Central, 11 a.m. Central, 12 noon Eastern. Then all of a sudden, when 12 noon Easterns come out, Ian Rappaport just magically has such and such size a 4-year deal. Man, miss me with that. Come on, man. What are we doing here? That's more than tampering. Yeah, they've been talking for a hot minute. So let's not even just like tampering is I call you and be like, hey, how you doing, man? You know, we would love to have you with the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, like that's something like that, right? that like that's tampering. Like, man, so what did the Eagles offer you? Like, come on, man. Magically a 4-year, $100 million deal just happens right at 12 o'clock. Like, wow, boy. I tell you this, boy, these agents are doing amazing work here. Like, give me a freaking break, man. Like, let's just call a spade a spade. These teams have been talking for weeks. Maybe through not through like the personal channels, but back channels, right? Maybe it's the intern. Maybe it's an intern that don't necessarily work at the office, but willing to talk to people if people at a top-notch, law firm, want agency want a person to talk. Like, man, give me a freaking break. There's no way. I just find it hilarious. I just find it hilarious, man. Let's see. I have a podcast. Would you be willing to collab? Yeah, man. Just hit me up. Let me know. Let me know, man. Let's see. Can no one complain about the lack of moves by the organization today? Been a long time since I've seen us make a move on day one. Man, it's been a minute. Been a minute since we've seen the New Orleans Saints make a move. And it's good to see, but they're not at the mercy of the salary cap anymore. So hopefully they can continue to do the things that they're doing right now. And you're able to see the New Orleans Saints go after some top free agents of need in the future. TJ, what do you see the Saints doing now with the 8th pick? That's a good question, James. But I wish I could just answer it in one fell swoop, but I can't because I don't know. Like, before all this happened, I would have loved to see the New Orleans Saints go after Jeremiah Love because he's a talented guy. Feel like the offense needs somebody dynamic, but now that they have Travis Etienne, he's dynamic. Maybe not on the scale of a Jeremiah Love, but he can get the job done. So what do you do then, right? You address the left guard position, which is great. I still think that you need to address the right guard position or at least bring someone in to compete with Cesar Ruiz. Maybe the Saints will do that in the second round. Maybe they'll trade back. I don't know. But when I look at the draft, and I said this at the top of the show, you think about the order, right? I don't know when these players are going, for the exception of Fernando Mendoza. I mean, look, he going to the Raiders. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's something that is set in stone. Unless something seriously happens to Fernando Mendoza, and I hope not, because he seemed like a nice, fine young man, and he's a dog. Like, he tough. So he's going to go number one. Don't know about number two. I mean, after what I seen from Sonny Styles at the Combine, I seen this with my own two eyes. I was front row center watching this dude put on an absolute freak show at the Combine. If the Saints would have drafted him at 8, which a lot of boards had him before he actually put on that display, Sonny Styles is the guy. He has fell into the number one spot for me. Sonny Styles. The Saints, you don't have Demario Davis anymore. Sonny Styles will be your Mike linebacker. To me, Danny Stutzman will probably serve that role of Pete Warner. He'll probably end up being that. You got Sonny Styles as your middle linebacker, sideline lurker, and you got another sideline lurker in Danny Stutzman. And not to mention, what Isaiah Stallbird and Jalen Ford, some of these young guys were actually doing in a rotational role. So Sonny Styles falls to the top of my list as a top need because the Saints, getting someone like that first off, you'll never have to worry about Sonny Styles as a player, as a human being. Dude is about his business. Like, you could just tell. Like, when he was at the podium, it was all business. Step aside, shake hands, great eye contact, all that stuff. Everybody was just raving about this kid because of how professional he carried himself. And not to mention how smart he is. Everybody talked about his football IQ. Amazing, off the charts. Not just his athletic ability, but his football knowledge. So if the Saints were to get Sonny Styles, every Saints fan will love this dude. I know they will. I know they will. There's not a doubt in my mind that Saints fans would not love Sonny Styles. He falls to the top of the list. Why? Because the Saints are running a 3-4 defense, and they need faster, quicker linebackers. And not only can this guy play linebacker, he can cover as well because he played safety before they moved him to linebacker. So he's out here covering like a safety, tackling like a linebacker. That's number one. Number two would be Caleb Downs. I do not care if the New Orleans Saints have Jordan Howden. I don't care if the New Orleans Saints got Justin Reed, Julian Blackman, Ernest Sinker, talented guys, but Caleb Downs changes the dynamic. He changes the dynamic of your secondary. You can not only could you line him up at safety, you can actually put him in a nickel. He's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to cover. And he's on my list, he's the number 2 best player in the draft. After Jeremiah Love is Caleb Downs. Some people would say Caleb Downs is number 1 and Jeremiah Love is number 2. That would be my 1 and 2. Other than that, Saints can trade back. Third option would be Mansour Delane. Mansour Delane would be a really good fit for the Saints. If you watched LSU football, you already know what he's about. Put him on one side, Kool-Aid on the other, maybe put Quincy Riley in the slot. Problem solved. Problem solved. You got yourself your number 1 corner, your number 2 corner, your really talented nickel who can actually get his hands on a football, and you got yourself some safety. So that's how I would look at it. But yeah, Sonny Styles falls to the top of the list. But the question is, will he be there? Probably not. Not even gonna waste everybody's time. Probably not. Not after that. Not after that showing. He was already a top 10 pick before the draft. Everybody had him projected to go 8 to the Saints or 7 to the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken. He probably go before that. He performed so well, he might even go to the Jets. And some people would say, well, it's not an appealing position. He's an off-ball linebacker. Safety is not a top priority. Man, miss me with all that. Can you play? Can you play? That's my question. Can you play? Is the team better because you're on the team? I don't care about, he played off-ball linebacker. Is the team better? That when you put that player on the team, when you input him into the lineup, does that position get better? If the answer is yes, then what the problem is. What the problem is. So yes, that is what I would do. Sonny Styles is number 1, Caleb Downs number 2. If not trading back, Mansour Delane, maybe he'll be there 8, pretty sure he will be. He's the top cornerback in the draft, so that wouldn't be a bad decision, even if the Saints were to draft him at 8. TJ, I think the Saints should draft Jordan Tyson at 8. The dude is a beast and would be perfect in the offense next to Olave and Vele. Look, I have nothing against Jordan Tyson. If we're going to talk about, and I'm not saying that this is you, man. I'm not saying that this is you. I'm not saying it's you, but people who have been talking about Trey Palmer, Jalen Polk being hurt. If we're talking about wide receivers and not being healthy, why Jordan Tyson on everybody's lips for the most part? Because he has had issues. As a matter of fact, he didn't perform on the field at all because he was dealing with a hamstring injury. And he's had injuries in college. So if we want to talk about guys coming in winning the battle of attrition, then why Jordan Tyson on everybody's lips? I want consistency when it comes to this. And like I said, I'm not referring to you because I don't know where you stand. I get the whole stance on Jordan Tyson. He's talented. He can make some of those circus acrobatic catches. If you're looking at the list of guys that can potentially be that number one receiver, he checks the boxes. But you have to ask yourself the question, is wide receiver the most important need for the New Orleans Saints? If Sonny Styles is there at 8, staring you in the face, and you got Jordan Tyson on the other side, who are you going with? If we're being realistic, like who we rolling with? Like some people will probably say, I still roll with Jordan Tyson. That's fine. That's fine. And it's not like I want people to understand it's not a wrong, like it's not a wrong answer. Like it's not incorrect. Like he is good. He's good. But if we're talking about winning a battle of attrition, if our deal breakers for Jalen Polk and Trey Palmer is them not winning that battle, then why are we talking about Jordan Tyson? Because the uncertainty of the Who Dat Nation, when I was tweeting, and that's not everybody, because everybody's not on social media, but the general consensus is when I said that the Saints wide receiver room, this is a tweet from me, the Saints wide receiver room isn't as bad as some Saints fans think that it is. People are like, man, it's terrible. Why are you saying that? Is it based on the fact that you haven't seen Jalen Polk and Trey Palmer? And if that's the case, like I said, if the next rebuttal that they have is we need another wide receiver. We need to bring Jordan Tyson in at 8. That's the pot calling the kettle black. If your deal breaker is the guys can't stay healthy, then why would you want to go after a wide receiver who has had a history of not being healthy? So we need consistency when it comes to these arguments. And like I said, I don't mind having conversations with people when they have done their research and they're not looking at it from just like I said, a smaller lens, like just he's not out there, out of sight, out of mind, so he must not be good. I don't see him, so he must not be ready to play. That's not good enough for me. That's not good. That is not good enough for me, man. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hate on anybody. I'm not trying to demean anyone or make anybody feel less. But let's have a conversation, my guy, my lady. Let's have a conversation. Like, we can't be talking out the side of our necks here. We got to do our due diligence because sometimes we come to these conversations with our shirt untucked. We ain't coming correct. So if we haven't done our research on said player, how are we going to have an argument about another player that is dealing with the same situation? Alfred, thank you very much for the 199. Says they said it's a bidding war for Devin Lloyd right now. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's not a surprise, Alfred. Man had a monster season. What do the Saints do with AK now? They keep him. They keep him. They keep him around. Look, I mentioned earlier in this episode, Alvin Kamara is a free spirit. Alvin Kamara doesn't care about personal accolades. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. Alvin Kamara chooses comfortability over anything. You can tell the way that he talks, the way he carries himself, even a contract negotiation. He just wanted more money, right? I mean, I'm out here doing my thing. I'm not asking y'all to break the bank, but come on, man, meet me halfway or something. And they did. Alvin Kamara will not care. I guarantee you, Alvin Kamara could care less that Travis Etienne was signed by the New Orleans Saints. He cares less. He's looking at it like, man, somebody else can come up here and help me out. Until the Saints say, we don't want you anymore. Then we have ourselves a different conversation. Then we can talk about something different. But Alvin does not care. Alvin isn't selfish like that. I think that he embraces the fact that there's someone that could come in that could alleviate him, and he should. Because if the New Orleans Saints have Alvin Kamara on the team, this is a chance for Alvin to actually be able to play the entire season without having to be at the mercy of, running a ball up the middle a million gazillion times, risking being injured at the age of 31 years old. He doesn't care, man. He does not care. Thank you very much for the $1.99. That man can care less. That is not how Alvin Kamara works. Yeah, that's just how it works. You got to get Love to replace Kamara. No, you don't. That ship sailed, man. That ship has sailed. I'm gonna make it deeper. I'm gonna make it deeper for y'all. I'm gonna make it deeper. Even if the New Orleans Saints were on the clock at number 8, I don't think they'll pick Jeremiah Love if he was on the clock. Like, if he was still available, I don't think the Saints would pick him. I don't. I do not. When the Saints signed Travis Etienne, that was them saying, this is the direction that we're going in. Sorry, folks. You don't sign on running back to a 4-year deal. What are you making? 51 million or something like that? You don't sign a guy to that type of deal and think, oh man, let's get Jeremiah Love up in it. No. That ship has sailed, okay? It has left the dock, ladies and gentlemen. They're waving at you. They're saying bye, bon voyage. That is what is happening right now. That is what is happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. Now, if you sign Travis Etienne to maybe a 1-year deal, then maybe we can have ourselves a different conversation here. But a 4-year deal for a guy that is an all-purpose back in Travis Etienne for the most part, the Saints pretty much just told you without telling you that they okay with Etienne. And Jeremiah Love is not on the menu anymore. So, and then like I said, chances of the dude being there at 8 are slim to none. From everything that I'm hearing coming out of Tennessee. Okay, everything I'm hearing coming out of Tennessee. And shouts out to those Tennessee reporters, man. Shouts out to my guys out there, man. So I want to keep my fingers crossed for that. Okay, I want to keep my fingers crossed for that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. It says, I'm still concerned with the health of the running back room and the wide receiver room. It's like we need 3 guys to equal 1 full season. Yeah, man, but look, it happens. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, Jack. It's just going to happen, my guy. Like, nobody is healthy. Like, nobody wide receivers was fully healthy the entire season. Go look. You might have one guy, on the team that probably played the entire 17-game season. Yeah, Chris Olave played the entire 17-game season. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba. But Cooper Kupp didn't. Torrey Horton didn't. That's one of the reasons why they decided to trade for Rashid Shaheed. Because Torrey Horton was out there making plays. But he got hurt. And they had to replace him. So, look, you can't put these wide receivers in bubble wrap. You can't put them in bubble wrap. You can't wrap them in saran wrap or whatever you wrap your fragile glass in. You can't. Like, it's football. It's a dangerous sport. You got guys running at each other 17 to 20 miles per hour. Guys are going to get hurt. One of the reasons why we're having this conversation, free agency, why these guys out here moving around trying to get the most money possible, because that one hit could be their last. It happens. You're not like, there is no perfect recipe to keep a player healthy. It's luck, it's rehabilitation, it's training, it's therapy, it's all those things. And at the end of the day, you're hoping that the guy is still good enough to go out there and be able to play the 17-game season. There is no secret family recipe for attrition, ladies and gentlemen. That is why we marvel at guys like Cam Jordan, marveled at guys like Drew Brees until towards the tail end of his career when he started to get injured. Marvel at guys like Brett Favre who are Iron Men on the field, okay? That's the reason why you marvel at guys like that, because they were out there absorbing that type of punishment, running into players, tackling guys, and still were able to go out and be available for their team each and every week. So that there is no secret sauce. There is no super serum for that. You can have the best strength and conditioning department. You can have the best doctors. You can have all of these things going for you, the analytics, the technology. Man, put the chip on. We want to see how your heart rate going. We want to see how fast you was running. We want to see how many miles you did put in during the week. You can do all these things to protect players and then still go out there on Sunday, somebody roll up on their ankle and they out for several weeks. It just happens. That's just the name of the game. That's just the nature of the beast. And there's nothing you can really do about it. The only thing you can do is make sure that you get the right players. And if you do have a next man up mentality, yes, that player more than likely won't be better than the player that he's replacing, but he'll be able to do something that is productive to help the team be successful. It's not like Madden where you can just turn the injuries off and you ain't got to worry about it. So you can just throw the football at your best receiver every single time. Don't worry about him being hurt in your franchise. Doesn't work like that. That's not football. That's just not football. That's just not the way things going, man. But look, you can't. I mean, you can try to replace guys, but who's to say the guys that come in as the replacements won't get hurt? TJ, this is Olave All-Pro year stamping. I mean, he's already All-Pro. He's a second-team All-Pro. Last year was his All-Pro season. He was second-team All-Pro. He had 9 touchdowns, over 1,100 receiving yards, 100 catches on the nose. So yeah, he already an All-Pro, which is probably going to make him, probably going to make him a lot of money because of that, especially when you look at some of these other guys. But speaking of other guys that got paid, let's talk a little bit about Alontae Taylor. Alontae Taylor signs with the Tennessee Titans. Of course, we know that he went to the University of Tennessee. He was a second-round pick of the New Orleans Saints back in 2022. He receives a 3-year deal, $60 million, $42 million guaranteed, and $20 million per year. So congratulations to Alontae Taylor. With that type of money, I'm pretty sure he's going to move back to outside corner. Should be interesting to see how he's going to be able to make that adjustment after playing, 3 seasons as a nickel for the New Orleans Saints. Look, Alontae Taylor, one word to describe him, solid. Solid cornerback. Like, is he the best cornerback in the league? Not in my opinion. Like, he's not. But can he play? Absolutely. He's not afraid to tackle. He has that good amnesia. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to have as a cornerback. He doesn't allow one play to define him. He'll probably mess up early in a game, and the next thing you know, he's playing inspired football. So I like that. Do I look at the New Orleans Saints and feel like they made the wrong decision letting them go? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'm just wondering to myself, like, how would this new experience, how would this be for Alontae Taylor, if you ask me? Like, on his way out of the door, there was some very questionable behavior, arguing with people on TikTok. And, it didn't cost him any money. But at the end of the day, I just hope that he stays true to himself and, continue to try to play and be the best player that he can be. But the Saints made the right decision. Like, he's not worth that type of money for a team like the New Orleans Saints, especially the position that he was playing in. Look, this isn't me just hating on Alontae Taylor. I feel like the New Orleans Saints can find another Alontae Taylor. I do. I think that you can get one in the draft, especially if you can get your hands on guys like Colton Hood or D'Angelo Pines. Like, I mean, I think that those guys can, fill that void. So, congratulations to him. It's not so much about being the best, it's about being available. We hear that all the time. So I'm glad he got his money, but if I'm the New Orleans Saints, am I giving him like that type of bread? No. And I think they made the right decision. Secret sauce is youth. Not perfect, but seems the most scientific explanation. Then it just happens. I mean, yeah, you need youth on the team, but man, young players get hurt too. They get hurt. Now they can be able to, like, you can talk about like maybe the bounce back is a little bit faster, right? But ACL is ACL. I don't care who you are. You're out for the season. Achilles injury is Achilles injury. I don't care if you're 21, 31, 41. I don't care what you are. Like, you out for the season. Like I said, Jack, what you're saying isn't wrong. Like, I agree with you. You need young players on your team, right? You don't want to be the oldest team in the league. But you also need a little bit of luck on your side as well. If we're talking about winning games that matter, being able to compete in the postseason, like, you got to have a little bit of luck on your side. Brian Thomas Jr., Devin Lloyd, and draft downs. Well, look, this is my question. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned this. I'm glad you mentioned this, Demario. I got a question for the Who Dat Nation and sports fans watching the State of the Saints podcast right now. This like, put your answer in the chat if you will. If you were the New Orleans Saints, would you call up the Jacksonville Jaguars and be willing to give away a second-round pick for Brian Thomas Jr.? I'm going to say that again. If you are the New Orleans Saints, would you be willing to trade a second-round pick for Brian Thomas Jr.? Would you do that? And let me explain why I'm asking this question. And before you do, I'm not even look, hear me out. Some people probably already, wait a minute. I just want you to answer this question. If the New Orleans Saints were to get Sonny Styles, if the New Orleans Saints were to get Jeremiah Love, if the Saints were to get Caleb Downs, what direction would more than likely, what direction would you want the Saints to go in the second round? You're probably going to say wide receiver. So ask yourself this question. Ask yourself this question before you answer my first question. Would you want a guy that has promise, that you think has promise, and be able to play on the next level? Or would you want a guy that has proven to you that he's good enough, and you know that you're going to have him for at least 3 years? Now you can answer my question. Would you trade a second-round pick for Brian Thomas Jr.? Would you do that if you were Mickey Loomis? Give you a minute to answer the question, then I'll scroll down and see what you all have to say. Titans needed DB help bad. Yeah, they did. I mean, they had $100 million to spend. So, do you think Alontae will be good as a corner? Yeah, I think he's going to be a solid corner. I think he will. I think he will be a solid corner. But we're talking about two different things. Do I think that he is going to be a solid corner for the Tennessee Titans? Absolutely. But if I'm the New Orleans Saints, am I willing to give him that type of bread? Absolutely not, especially when you can find yourself another Alontae Taylor. Like, Alontae Taylor is a solid player, but there are a lot of solid cornerbacks in the National Football League. There are going to be a lot of solid cornerbacks coming into the NFL in the draft that will be able to possess some of the same skills that Alontae Taylor has, or probably be able to give you even more than that. That's not hate. That's just a fact. That's a fact. So the Saints made the right decision, and I'm happy he got paid. So let's see what we're gonna say here. Okay. All right. We're gonna start. Nola says nope. Saints says hell yeah. Survivor says hell yeah. Ice Cold says nope. Alfred says hell yes. Okay, for those that said no, tell me why. Make it quick. Make it quick. For those that said yes, tell me why. Because when you think about it, just think about it. Think about this. If you get Brian Thomas, he's going into his third season, right? Was he a first round draft pick? He was a first round draft pick. So you can pick up his 5th-year option. So you're going to have him for at least 3 seasons. You're going to have him for at least 3 seasons. 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year. So you pick up his 5th-year option. You already paid Chris Olave. So around that time, when it's time to pay Brian Thomas based on his production, you might be in a better situation cap-wise than you were before. So to me, like, he's on a rookie deal, right? We're talking about a 2nd-round pick that you're saying has some promise, but we know Brian Thomas is a beast. We've seen him. We've seen his work in Jacksonville. So why wouldn't you? Like, the only difference would be you won't get that 4th year. But when you think about it, like I said, he's going into his 3rd year, 3, 4, 5. So around that time, you're going to try to pay him anyway. So it would be the same thing. Like if you was to get a 2nd-round pick, that works out. You get them on like a 4-year deal, right? Most 2nd-round picks sign those 4-year deals. You'll have Brian Thomas Jr. for three years, basically under a rookie deal. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? If we talk about a guy that's going to give you that type of production, probably more than what a second round pick is probably going to give you that early in his career. That's my way of thinking, but I want to hear why people are saying no. And look, I'm not trying to like issue on anyone opinion about why they're saying no. I just want to know why you said no. Why did you say no? Brian Thomas, a dog, made Sunshine look like the second coming of Jesus last year. I say tight end in the 2nd, Kenyon Sadiq. You still think that's a possibility after they got Noah Fant and now you got Juwan Johnson? I mean, look, Kenyon Sadiq is impressive. What, he ran like a 4.5 at the combine? And look, man, I'm still on Sam Roush. I'm sorry. I'm still on Sam Roush. Even though I like Noah Fant, I think that he's a really good blocking tight end, especially like you going out there to Seattle. You better know how to block. But, I mean, I still think the Saints need to get themselves another young tight end. And because you got Noah Fant and you got Juwan Johnson, I don't think the Saints are going to be looking in those like first 3 rounds for a tight end. I mean, I could be wrong. But if they do, I would think that they're probably going to go after someone that can contribute on special teams. So that's why I feel like Oscar Delp would probably be a good pick for them. Seemed like he had a really good interview with the Saints. So keep a lookout for that. And like I said, I just like Sam Roush, man. The guy just a football player, man. I think that any team that he gets drafted to, any team that gets him, they're gonna have themselves a football player. I like the guy. He's smart, he's tough, and man, just watching him play, man, he has that old school tight end vibe about him, and also, man, he can catch passes and. You're just not gonna take him down, man. He's gonna fight for every freaking yard. He got a little bit of George Kittle in him, so I mean, I like him. Can he pull it out of him completely? I don't know, but I like him. I think Blackman going to be a star this season. If he stays healthy, man, he's going to be a star. I agree with you. His ability to play has never been an issue. It's been the injuries. Tom is struggling with Trevor Lawrence, so he could hold Shough back if he still shows the same struggle. Okay. Let's take a look at Brian Thomas Jr.'s stats. I mean, because I want to know. I want to know what his stat line was looking like. I know what his stat line was looking like. I said, I mean, that's valid. That's valid what you're talking about. If you're holding somebody back, you definitely don't want to do that. So he had 48 receptions for 707 yards and 2 touchdowns. He 14.7 yard average. All right. So let's take a look here. Okay, so 700 yards last season. Not bad. Not bad. He was targeted 91 times, 48 receptions. Right? Career right now, he has 135 receptions for 1,989 yards and 12 touchdowns. So that means he had, 10 touchdowns his rookie season? That's pretty doggone good there. Pretty doggone good. So, look, I don't know if he's going to hold Tyler Shough back. I don't know if he's going to hold Tyler Shough back. I think that he's talented enough to be able to bring something to the table. But hey, that's your opinion. That's your opinion on that. That's your opinion on that. Maybe you see something in Bryan Thomas that you feel like wouldn't be a good fit. And that's fair. TJ, what are we going to do with Ruiz? I don't know what the Saints are going to do with Cesar Ruiz. I do not know. I do not know. All I know is Cesar Ruiz should not come into the 2026 season. I'm sorry, big man. No disrespect. But he should not come into the 2026 season just being the outright starter at right guard. The New Orleans Saints have got to find someone to push Cesar Ruiz. They have to. You cannot, as my grandfather said, you cannot have him laying on a flower bed of ease. You can't. Like, you got to have somebody out here, like, especially if he's not giving you everything that you need at right guard. You have got to find somebody. You have got to find someone that can push Cesar Ruiz. You cannot just say, Cesar, this is your spot. You can't. You cannot do that. Now, I'll just go ahead and throw this out here. Torricelli Simpkins. I don't know. Maybe he has developed and become better, and maybe he's ready to push Cesar Ruiz. But still, draft someone or bring somebody in that has played some football that could possibly compete, maybe not cost you so much money, right? But someone that is going to push him. Someone that has had some experience, played some ball, and not going to cost you an arm and a leg, two backs and a neck to get him. So rather it's going to be either a draft or maybe you sign somebody. May not want to hear this guy's name, but Mekhi Becton, and maybe signing, or drafting a right guard in the later rounds, rather it's the second round, third round. You got 2 fourth-round picks, but you do not let him go into the season like, man, this is your job. And I think that's too much. Like, if we're going to have a conversation about him, if you're going to call him out at the end of your press conference, questioning his play, then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what, Saints fans? That is you are admitting that there's an issue at right guard. So if there's an issue at right guard, do something about it. If there is an issue at right guard, do something about it. Take a few more, and then we'll go ahead and get up out of here. Facts, TJ, we need to phase him out. Let me tell you something. E. Dev, let me tell you something. You're not phasing him out. He's phasing himself out if you have somebody that's going to compete with him. And if that person beats him out, he phased himself out. It's sink or swim. It's make or break. This is your moment. So we're telling you we need more out of you. How are you going to approach this offseason? How are you going to come back to offseason activities? How are you going to come to training camp? Are you going to make it undeniable that you are the right guard to start for the New Orleans Saints? Or will this young bull push you out of the door? It's up to you. It's up to you. So you're not phasing out anybody. You're not phasing out anybody. E, if you're playing football and you're a wide receiver and you've been leading the team in targets and catches at the same time, but at the same time, like in crucial moments, you dropping the ball, team brings somebody else in to compete with you, and you still didn't step your game up, did the team do that to you? Or did you do it to yourself? So you're phasing yourself out. So if he's going to step up to it, no, I know you're agreeing with what I'm saying. I'm just using this as an example. Look, what I want people to know, like when I'm reading your comments, is never like I'm just going at you. I get what you're saying. Competition is key. Like you said, we need competition for spots. Too many players are complacent. Yeah, that's the thing. Make guys earn it. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. You should come to camp competing. You as a coach, you want a competitive environment. I don't want wide receiver C to still be a C after 3-4 years. I want you to at least like roll up to a B, flirt with an A. Or I feel like I failed as a coach. So what am I doing here? What am I doing to rally the troops? What am I doing to elevate players? What am I doing? If I just allow you to waltz in and give lackluster football play, and I'm still like, okay, your job here. See you next year. No. Iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. This is not a shot. I do not sit up here on the State of the Saints podcast and be like, who do I want to take a shot at tonight or today? This is a fact. Even the general manager called out Cesar Ruiz. So if you're going to call this guy out by name, what does that say, ladies and gentlemen? What does that say? That say that you feel like there's something missing. So if there's something missing, let's try to, one, correct it, or number two, bring somebody in that is the correction. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? And you don't feel bad about it if that person gets phased out because they did it to themselves. You got to elevate your game, man. You got to stay on high alert. You got to keep your guard up. You can never feel like you have all the answers. If you feel like you have all the answers, I guarantee you the questions will indeed change. Rest in peace to Roddy Piper. He said, just when you think you have all the answers, I change the questions. Change the doggone questions if people feel like they have all the answers. And let's see where they are. Let's see where they at. Fact, battle tested is key. Yeah, man, look. They got that old saying, I smell like smoke because I've been through fire. Man, come on, man. Not too many smoky guys on the team, man. Where the fire at? Like, come on, man. You got to create that competitive environment and keep that thing going. They signed a punter, so why not push other positions for competition? Well, I think that's over with, man. I mean, when they signed Ryan Wright, I mean, Kyle Kroger, you know, hopefully he won't be working there soon, you know, but I think the writing's on the wall when it comes to it. Like, you cannot be the worst statistical punter in the entire NFL. Can't. See, punters are one of those positions we don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about punter until something bad happens. Then everybody want to talk about how bad the punting is. But let's keep a spade, Slim South. Let's keep a spade. You know what I'm talking about, all of you. The Saints punters have been not good for years. From Lou Hetley, Blake Gillikin was probably the most decent punter the Saints had in the last, 4 or 5 years. Don't know why they got rid of him. That just seemed like that was such low-hanging fruit. I think, now I could be wrong. I could be way out in left field for this type of allegations. But I really feel like they used the special teams department to try to set the tone. What are you doing? Like, okay, I don't want to get rid of this guy. But, man, the special teams, man, they got to clean their act up. Let's get rid of Will Lutz and replace him with, Blake Grupe. Like, let's get rid of Blake Gillikin and sign Lou Hetley. And it backfired on him. It backfired. It was just like, okay, I can't punch this guy right here. He's 7 foot tall. I can't punch this guy. This guy's 6'6". But this guy right here, 5'3". That's what it was. That's what it was like. They used the special team because it was low hanging fruit. Like, Blake Gillikin and Will Lutz are still kicking in the league right now. And they don't have a worse average at any time since they left the New Orleans Saints, worse than Lou Hetley or Kyle Kroger. What does that say? Number one, you can't pick special teams players like punters and kickers. And number two, you made a mistake. Not gonna lie, I might be in my feelings when we part with Alvin. Buzz that we may be moving on. Hey man, they won a lot of football games. Cheer for them on a lot of Sundays. It's natural, but I mean the beat goes on, man. Yeah, Simpkins played center good too. Yeah, he did pretty well, man. I want to see what he's gonna do in his second year. I was shocked we got rid of JT Gray. Once again, why? Why? Like I said, it's just like the special teams is like the 5'3" guy, you know what I'm saying, that I can bully. TJ, with Travis Etienne being 27 years old and the shelf life at the running back at 30 years old, was a 4-year contract too much in years? No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. I mean, pretty middle of the pack contract for a running back. Wasn't bad, man. I think it was the right decision. I mean, you need some youth, you need some explosiveness, and you need somebody that's proven. And Travis Etienne checks all those boxes, so should be okay, man. And, you know, around year 4, if you having to, like, look at Etienne and maybe slow down a little bit, and that's where you got guys like, look, I believe in Devin Neal. I do. I know this guy has dealt with some injuries, but, man, he can be that Mark Ingram. He can be the team Mark Ingram. Like, he has promise. He has promise, and if he can just get his health together, get himself like in some shape, and not deal with the injuries, man, Devin Neal can be something special. Like Kendre Miller can be good, but I don't know. I think the ship sailed because I think when it comes to Kendre, he's good, but he's hurt. He's not a Kellen Moore guy, right? And if Kellen Moore had to choose between Devin Neal and Kendre Miller, who you think he's going to decide to go with? I mean, Devin Neal is his guy. He drafted him. You get what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, I like Devin Neal, man. I disagree, TJ. Devin Neal ain't it. I think Devin Neal, like, but what are we talking about in what way? Like, if we're talking about, like, being an all-purpose every down back, probably not. But a guy being like a change of pace back for you, yeah, I think he can be that. I think he can be that for you. He's not gonna be your every down guy. But he's a smart football player, and that means something. And he probably one of the best blocking running backs that you have. At least he can pick up the the pass protection. Yeah, Neal is that two-way player. That dude was cold at Kansas. Yeah, man, he's a good football player. Watch him with his new line. Yeah, man, we gotta, like, let's not be so quick to judge these players, right? Let's not be so quick to judge these guys too, man, because we know that the Saints are kind of going through the motions too. So, man, I agree. Let's see what they're doing, King. Let's see what they're doing with the new line. Let's see if that helps improve the running game. Because we know the running game ain't been what it needs to be because the offensive line hasn't been what it needs to be. 2 more, and then we getting up out of here. Says Neal has great upside. He's still young. I haven't given up on him. Don't give up on the guy. He only been in the league 1 year, man. You know, let's see. Is official TJ. We got another compensatory 4th round pick this year for Debo. For real, man. Not a 4th round pick for Debo. Because when I was talking about earlier in the season, when the Saints made that trade for Devon Bailey, everybody was getting on me because I was like, well, the Saints going to get a compensatory pick for Paulson Debo anyway. So the Saints didn't necessarily lose a 4th round pick. They just basically gave it, but they're going to get one back. well, nah, man, they screwing up the bag. They messing it up. Okay, not only did the New Orleans Saints have 1 4th-round pick, they actually got 2 4th-round picks if you count the trade that they made with the Seattle Seahawks for Rashid Shaheed. So the Saints got 2 4th-round picks. They didn't start Ozzie Adam the entire season, which I pretty much knew they weren't going to do. And then you see, oh, it wasn't a waste of a trade because Devon Bailey is pretty damn good. Every now and then, I know what the heck I'm talking about from time to time. I know a lot of people, they like to pin the things that I say wrong. And yeah, I don't get everything right. But I just like the same energy when I get things right from time to time to circle on back and be like, okay, man, you was off on this one, but man, you got this one right. You'll never hear that, though. But all I'm saying is they got 2 4th-round picks, right? And you got Devon Bailey, who ended up being a really good wide receiver for you. The Saints won. The Saints, like for the last few years, the Saints have won every decision that they have made. From the 9 draft picks that they had, from getting rid of Marshawn Lattimore and bringing in guys that, draft picks that consist of Quincy Riley and Ernest Sinker, from bringing in Devon Bailey, right? From trading Rashid Shaheed and getting a 4th-round pick in return for it, to allow Chris Olave to not only burst and come into his own, but be a second-team All-Pro. They hitting them out of the park right now. I mean, they Aaron Judge right now. They knocking them out of the park. You know what I'm saying? So if they can keep this energy, I don't think Saints fans will be upset with the front office as much as they have been over the last couple of years. But my final thought is this, ladies and gentlemen. The Saints are in a new era. And yes, it's hurtful that players, I'm pretty sure for you, like Demario Davis, Cam Jordan is still out there. As of right now, upon the making of this episode, he hasn't found a home, making me believe that maybe he might come back to the Saints. Alontae Taylor isn't there, but these are the type of things that teams go through in order for them to be able to break through, okay? In order for them to break through, you got to be able to make those tough decisions. Teams do this every single year. They make tough decisions. They let guys go in the name of getting better, getting younger, getting faster, and the Saints are no exception. So the first day during this whole free agency process, the New Orleans Saints, I think everybody would agree, they hit it out of the park. They got players of need at positions that were of need. And not only did they just get players, they got some of the top-notch players at that position, which lets every Saints fan know that this team is trying to go for it and trying to be competitive and feel like the NFC South can be there for the taking. The question is, will this assembly come together and be able to generate the results that Saints fans want, the organization wants? Will it happen? Only time will tell. But thank you all so much for checking out this edition of the State of the Saints podcast. Once again, my name is TJ Jones. I ask that you subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the content. There's more content for you here. Just go ahead and subscribe to the channel and check it out. Also, you can follow me on X at TJAYJones8. And also check out my daily shorts on Bleacher Report. Download the Bleacher Report app, search New Orleans Saints, and you'll see it. And also, you'll check out episodes of the State of the Saints podcast that are available also on Yahoo Sports. So shouts out to Yahoo Sports, shouts out to Bleacher Report, and shouts out to you for those that follow the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. We'll be back as the official NFL season start on Wednesday. Are the Saints done? Will the Saints sign some more players? What will the New Orleans Saints do during some of these pro days that's coming up? What practice will they roll up on? Who will they have their eye on? All of that we'll be talking about. So keep it locked right here to the State of the Saints podcast. Till next time, all I got to say is
TJ Jones, we here. State of the Saints podcast, top notch, everything's top class. Know the play before they snap it. Going forward, never backward. Mr. TJ Jones getting it.